We are talking to Beverly Low. She is the Director of Guidance and College Counseling at Manchester-Essex Regional High School. Hi, Bev.
Hi, good morning, Heather. Good morning, Kory.
Hi, Bev.
Let's just start right out by asking you, what can high school seniors anticipate this year as the college application process begins?
I found that the one-on-one Zoom meetings with seniors, current seniors, have been super effective. I feel like we're meeting them in their natural habitat. And what I mean by that is we agree on a time to talk that's convenient for them and for me mostly. And they're at their kitchen counter, they're in their room, they're kind of, in their space. As opposed to in school, they'd have to come into my office, sit at a round table, and there'd be other distractions. The phone would ring, someone would walk in. But in a way, I feel like the online virtual conversations have been pretty productive in a weird way. So we're doing the best we can to to temper down any anxiety or nervous feelings. I think one of the things that comes up a lot with students, are they missed out on some things in the spring. That the grading mode changed for maybe a little bit, but in the end, all students received a final grade. We'll have to explain our delivery of instruction. The other thing is, athletics and co-curriculars. We do have some seniors. Some of them may have been, coach supported, or their coach is interested in them, or music programs or other programs, but they weren't able to necessarily demonstrate or take it to the next level. The National Association for College Admission Counseling, NACAC, which is kind of the umbrella organization for admission and enrollment management and also school counselors, has put out a couple of open letters and statements. And one of those was over 300 colleges and universities will not penalize students who were unable to participate in extracurricular activities at the level they intended in the spring. Any college admission person that I've talked to, and I've talked to a lot of them over the summer, some of them are my friends and former colleagues when I worked at Colgate University and Hamilton College, and just from the profession, they say they get it. And in fact, Jonathan Hurt and Jacqueline DeShera, who did our panel, kept coming back to that they more than anyone on the planet probably right now, they're working in admission. They understand students, and they know that the spring was not anything close to normal, and that they're going to be looking to have more contact perhaps and have students connect with them more frequently. The other thing I wanted to mention is that over 520 colleges and universities, another open letter came from NACAC, and they are affirming that there'll be no penalty for the lack of an SAT or ACT score. So 520 colleges are going in some format of test optional. What we've encouraged our students to do, and I would say that across the board, is become a good detective. If you have a list of colleges in which you're interested, start becoming an expert on them in terms of what they are and are not requiring. And I think we'll see more and more colleges move away from testing. Part of that is there's no sites open. So where do you take the SAT? Usually at a public high school. Public high schools are closed. I'm thinking of my friends in Texas that and the hot spots around. I think there was something like over 400,000 students had signed up to, or had attempted to register for the SAT that would be offered this coming Saturday. But I think I heard 50% or more of those test sites are closed, due to COVID-19. So I've been on the bandwagon of encouraging colleges and universities to maybe host, if they really want the test scores, then they should maybe host the testing. But.
Well, it seems amazing to me, and I am no great fan of those tests, but how have they not found a way to do it online?
It's an interesting question, Heather, and I don't have any inside information on this, but I have a feeling that they, at least with the PSAT, which is a preliminary SAT, it gives sophomores and juniors a benchmark of what they might want to work on. that they are talking about offering that as an online, because there's usually a typical day in October, middle October, that schools, we in fact have done that on a Wednesday. It happens to be a Wednesday in October every year. But this year we're not doing any large scale testing in the building, we're not open yet. But also the AP program went online with mixed reviews. I think part of that, and I'm defending the AP program. Write it down. It's a great program, but it's they put you through the paces. But yeah, there were bumps because they took a regular, like any of us took something that had existed in a certain format and then whoop, flipped it right over to electronic and online with mixed reviews. Some students opted out of taking the exam because of the March was particularly bumpy as teachers and students transition to the online format. But I'm thinking now that they've had summer, they've been able to review their process and work out some of the bugs. I would think they would be able to take the essay, the College Board would be able to take the SAT and replicate what they did with the AP. ACT, I haven't, I'll be honest, I haven't followed them as closely, but I have been in and out of the College Board stuff for a bit. We'll see.
So
It's possible. Yeah.
It sounds to me as if essay writing and interviewing is going to be a big strength this year for students. Do you think that's where the the application process is going to go?
Well, I think first and foremost, what I'm hearing from admission folks, colleagues, and then our panelists the other night is that it's always the transcript and looking at how a student has progressed. They look at the high school profile in terms of what the high school offers. We're fortunate to offer 19 AP courses. A larger school district in a different part of the country or rural, if you're up in Aroostook County, Maine, you might have 4 or 5 APs. But did a student take full advantage of those in what level? What kinds of options did they have? And based on the options, did they make the most of it? So in that regard, they're still looking at, what the student has chosen in terms of what their preparation path might be for college. Our students, I can say that was the biggest question for the panelists I'm starting my 7th year and in secondary ed after 27 years in higher ed. And I'm still amazed at how, knotted up what we'll get about the essay. And we're trying to dampen, that a little bit. I heard a great quote on NPR, an interview with Sal Khan from the Khan Academy. And I wrote it down and it said, "Do not allow perfection to be the enemy of good." And that is my magic bean for seniors who are writing their college essays. Is just, it's in your voice, it's as if you were on the elevator with this person and you were even having a conversation. What's important to you? What are your values? So that's my long-winded answer, Heather, to say, yes, the essay, they have the data points. They have the student's GPA, the transcript. They have, I was in, I did this activity, I did robotics, I'm in theater, I have my teacher recommendations. They're putting all those pieces of the puzzle together. And then they want the student to tell them a story about themselves. So I've heard that it's not going to be weighted any more heavier in the process. It's still important, but they might actually be looking at, teacher recommendations, particularly if the teacher had the student in the spring and the student was engaged online, with the class and stayed through and persevered and things like that. There will be, and there is actually, not will be, it's live now. The Common application is used by a lot of colleges and universities in the US, and they have added a question this year that specifically, I jotted it down. It asks about, it's an optional question, and we're asking our students to think about that, and it's only 250 words max. The Common App never lets you go over your word count. And it's about, did the pandemic affect them significantly in their education, family safety? How did it affect their access, to technology, things like that? So students will have an opportunity to use that block of space in the Common App to talk about it rather than talk about it in their main essay. We really, we've heard from a lot of folks, we're really moving our students away from not getting into that in their personal essay, but saving any comments for that section.
Well, let's keep following up with you as the year goes on. I'm sure there's a lot to talk about as things change. And I'm sure colleges are kind of nervous too, as nervous as these seniors are.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that again.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Always look forward to chatting with you too. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks for your time.